Coming to you from the home of the king of all queerdos, it's the QueerCentric with your host, Queer Lead Jonny.
Hello, it is another amazing episode that you all wait at the seat of your pants for to come every week. Very excited to be here again. This is going to be another fun show. When isn't a show fun? I'm trying to think back. I typically don't have people on that I don't like. So that's the way, oh God. You don't want to see Kurt. He's doing the butt dance, and we don't allow that. It's been outlawed in 7 states. So there you go. Before we get started, I do want to mention, please keep watch out there for some fun shows that are coming up. Of course, I've been telling you, if you haven't got your summer reading done, we have Zachary Zane, who wrote Boy Slut. His episode comes out in September, so watch for that. We also have the great Jonathan Slavin, who I love, and I've talked to many times. Got to sit with them down in LA, but he is from such shows as Better Off Ted, Dr. Ken, Santa Clarita Diet, which I miss with all my heart, and Speechless. He's in a play right now because, of course, we're not crossing the picket lines. But I love that man, so he's going to be on in September as well. So keep your eyes peeled for those things. Also, remember our favorite people down at oh my gosh, Broadway, Spokane. Broadway, we have Tina, the Tina Turner musical coming. It's coming on September 19th through the 24th. Its last day here is my birthday. So go enjoy it. All you have to do to get tickets is go to BroadwaySpokane.com. West Coast Entertainment have been so good to us through the years. We love going to theater. And so you should join us if you haven't been. And everybody who is not from Spokane, please support your community nightlife. We need to put the money into the community, invest in the places we live. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to bring my beautiful guest on. Melissa Berry is here in the studio. We're going to talk a lot about media, what's it like to work in media, but also powerful women, because she is a powerful woman. So Melissa, why don't you give us a brief intro of who you are?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that lovely intro. And also, I am so excited for those 2 podcasts to come out. Those sound really good. I heard about Boy Slut, too.
Yes.
And you said it was a ride. So
Oh, it's a ride. I have
wait.
read the whole book now,
Awesome.
and it's brilliant, and I'm just amazed at this author. But he is I think you probably heard that, too. He is the Men's Health sex columnist.
Oh.
So he's been doing it for years. They finally had him write a book. It's a New York Times bestseller. And so good.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to borrow that from you.
Yes, it's so
after
good.
whoever's borrowing it after
Love
you.
it. Love it.
But yeah, I'm Melissa Berry. I am the co-owner of Trending Northwest magazine.
Hello.
Big deal. But I actually have kind of a wild career. I started in libraries. So I'm super
smart.
excited to be
So glad to
here.
have you.
I love that you're a reader and you're not like an Audible kind of person. No shame.
I do that
but
when I'm in the shower. I have a book that I don't want to read and tangible.
Fair.
I'll play that, and then I read typically 2 books at once. So
Nice.
yeah. There's just too much good stuff.
There's so much good stuff out there. I have like so many waiting for me, and then like sometimes they go away because I
Right?
don't get there fast enough. I'm like,
Exactly. I
no.
still have bookshelves. I'm like, oh, I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, Goodreads. My Goodreads is stacked. But yeah, started off in libraries. I actually worked in emergency management too. So I mean, that's a thing that's happening now here in Spokane.
Yeah.
And then now I started a website called Everyday Spokane when I first moved to Spokane. And then over time I met up with Aaron and
Yeah.
we started a podcast first. So I'm thrilled to
didn't
not
know
have to
that.
do any work on this podcast.
Just show
Thank you.
up.
That's why I brought food. Because I was
Exactly.
like, I get a little hangry when I'm podcasting.
Right?
So, so we started the podcast. It was called at the time Trending Spokane, and then we decided to start a magazine because we're insane, and you know,
Yes, I understand.
So now we have Trending Northwest. It will be out like officially. January will be its first like year of magazine printing, but we've been doing it for almost a whole year now.
And it is quarterly, right?
It is quarterly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because I get it, and it can be delivered to your house. So, just look that up. Makes it very convenient. But also, so as we get into this, before we talk about some where things began, you guys, so there used to be a magazine here in town that was really big, and it was Spokane Coeur d'Alene Living, and then a lot of tragedy happened.
Yeah.
And then and it's been a few years since they've been around, but boy, you guys found that perfect timing, I think, to fill that niche because people do care about the Northwest. I mean,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And then you guys just basically everywhere in the Northwest. I don't know how you guys even keep up with all of the pieces, but you guys have found a niche that seems to be going really well.
Yeah, it is going really well. So, I mean, I think that the magazine that you're talking about, that it's kind of like, I don't really know. I can't, and I'm not sure if I can say like what's going on with it, but it seems to kind of be, you know, everything that's happened with it and everything. So we had started while it was still in existence, and we were just like, for us, it's really important in the journalism media industry to show people that don't look like stereotypical journalists.
Right.
And so we just didn't really see ourselves represented.
Which I absolutely love, actually. Such a diverse group of people that are there writing for you guys, but also you do such a great job at supporting women writers and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think obviously is important. And so I love seeing that. And all of the writers are so active on socials that it's easy for me to keep up. So I'm like, because every day, and then I have little conversations with, and I think that's amazing. But let's start. So you start with the podcast.
Yeah.
What makes you two go, oh, let's do a magazine too?
Did I mention the insanity?
Right. That helps. That helps.
So we started the podcast during COVID because we were just like, nothing's going on. Why not start a podcast? Because nothing will ever get back to normal.
No, never.
And we won't get busy again, right? So podcast. And so we were talking to all these really interesting people because we started and like, we knew people pretty well, and we were like, okay, we're going to interview these people that we know. But then like all of these people just kept wanting to be on, and we were like, oh, we like actually have to make more time for it. And so then we were kind of like, we wish we could tell their stories. So like I always say, like, not everyone wants to be a writer, but everyone has stories. And so that's why it's nice that we have all kinds of media to feature them in. So we have the magazine, we have podcast interviews, but we were like, how could we feature them, I don't know, in a more robust way? Because like people listen to podcasts, but they don't keep listening to them. They don't keep the it's not tangible. Yeah. So
and there's something about that when we were talking about books a minute ago. There's something about having a tangible, like the magazine. I followed it, but I love having it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's age. I don't know what it is, but I love that aspect of it. And a lot of people do, obviously.
Yeah. So then we were like, why not start a magazine? And initially we were working with a journalist, local journalist, super great, but lots of things happened and she ended up having to take off for like her own health and everything. And so it was Aaron and I, we like just kept going, and we were like, okay, cool. We're not journalists, definitely not business owners. But here we are. Yeah. And the skills that we have, like Erin really now has taken over kind of the advertising, and she's like a real people schmoozer person. And I say that in like the best ways. I'm so glad she is. And I'm more of the like, I maintain the website. I make sure the magazine goes out on time. I source the writers and everything. And like, I'm a little more like no nonsense, whereas she's more like yes to everything. And then I'm the one that's like no to most of it.
Exactly.
But it makes
it's the balance.
Yeah, we need it. And so like, I don't know, maybe people are watching this and are like, that's the mean one. And I'm like, I will take that. Like, and a lot of people are like, oh, Aaron owns the magazine. I'm like, I'm here too. And they're like, we don't like you.
Yeah, you're not nice. What's so funny, we went to coffee, and what I discovered when we were talking is that I am this, what I believe is a conglomeration of both of you.
Yes.
Because I'm the one, listen, I've had some wonderful people tell me that I give tough love very easily. And so I could be seen as the mean one. But I don't think, I just, when you're creative and you want everything to work. So I'm both. Yeah. And if I need to go do self-promotion, that's fine too. Yeah. But
that's something I need to learn. So
I'll
watch you.
You should. I always try to tell everybody, self-promotion is a beautiful thing and it's okay. And if you're good at it, you don't seem like that blowhard, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry. And I'm sure sometimes I do seem like that. But most of the time, you just slip it in, learn how to be charming. Yeah. You got it.
I've read that book. What is that? The Dale Carnegie book? The one that's how to win friends. I'm still not winning friends nor influencing. So.
Do you know who else? Do you know that's the #1 book that people who start cults read?
Oh, well, I will try to. I think I need the winning the friends part first. And then one day I'll work my up to cult.
I don't think you have a problem.
First.
We have always hit it off. I think it's there. Somebody needs to be that business mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the side.
Oh, I thought we were selling cults. I was like, someone needs to start a
cult.
I'm like,
needs
we have a lot
to
of
start
cults.
Listen, I think the QueerCentric should be a cult.
Can I help?
Yes,
I'll organize. I'm very good at organizing.
Our members are called Queerdos. So we're heading in the right direction. But I want to see. So It is like the magazine itself has it's a solid magazine. Like it's a real magazine.
Yeah.
It's grown up to be a real
It is,
magazine.
yeah.
What was the growth like? Like,
in terms of like the size or like.
yeah, when it started and now
Yeah.
where it is today, was it
Yeah.
a fast growth or what was it that influenced that?
I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, of course, the first magazine issue was pretty small just because we were just like trying to source some writers, but like we
Right.
also didn't like really know who wanted to write. And like, I don't know if at the first instances we even like paid anybody because we were just like friends.
Right. Yeah.
Hello, friends. Like, do you want to write something for us? And they said yes, which thank you guys. Like,
Right.
that's very nice of you. And so I can't even remember how many pages, maybe 40, 46 or something.
Right.
And the other crazy thing is like in print, I didn't know this. Fun surprise. You have to like print in pages of 8 or something. They're always like
to hit every page.
yeah. So they were like, oh, you can't have like 45 pages, Melissa. And I was like, but that's what we have. And they're like, it has to be in multiples of 8. And I'm like,
That's so crazy.
no.
Like math. We did not discuss having to do math.
Yeah, again, not business, not math. Oh, Aaron and I have like a whole list of things we are not. We are not lawyers. We are not CPAs.
Thank you.
Fun.
Thank you.
Fun. So, anyone listening who wants to start a business, be a lawyer, be a CPA.
Yes, it will help your life.
Even be a journalist. Honestly.
Like to take it on. I mean, Kurt and I definitely understand being in media and just trying to take on all the roles. You've been in business not quite a year. You've been in business like, you know what I mean? But
together, yeah. And that's
yes.
the other thing, having like a business partner. I feel like now I'm just telling everyone how terrible it is. It's actually wonderful owning a magazine. We've learned a lot. There are a lot of
Yes.
positives to it. But also, I
Right.
mean, there is like you co-own it. So like
Yeah.
the decisions, like we met with our lawyer like 2 weeks ago and she was like, how do you guys settle disagreements? And Aaron was like, I just listened to her. And the lawyer's like, that's not like a response. And we were like, what about a coin flip? And she was like, also not legal, guys. And we were just like,
trying to
okay.
protect you both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we haven't disagreed on anything
Yeah,
yet. So,
yeah.
but you know, that's like the whole thing that could eventually happen. And so, like, just owning a business has been really surprising and fun, but also it's just really exciting. And that's
Oh,
something
yeah.
that, like, as we get older, I feel the excitement dwindles in our life. And so,
Truth.
like, coming up to like a like a new email that I got that's like, someone said this, and I'm like, oh, like a small heart attack, but I'm alive.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Ready.
And I think it's funny as we get older. I don't think it has to do with the age as much as we just get tired. And
There's
it's like,
definitely that.
oh, I'm too tired for that.
There's definitely that.
But you guys, I feel like we've said it a million times when we're doing things. I feel like you guys have mastered this art of you have to leverage people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build a team because you come to that point, and I'm sure you two came to it, which is, oh, we can't do everything. You know, because then it would be exhausting. And you guys have such a large vision, it could never be the vision. So how big is your team now?
So our team is 3 people, and so they're all contracts.
It seems like there's so many.
I know, right?
Way
Well, we
to
do have a
go.
bunch of writers. So,
Yeah.
but they're like also contract, and they're kind of like
Right.
when we assign them things.
Yeah.
So like we have like 5 total core staff. I mean, me and Aaron being, you know, the ones
Right.
that always have to be around. And
Right.
then we have 3 others, and they are amazing. They're all such really nice people. They're really good people.
See, that's beautiful.
And they were all like, Aaron knew one of them, and then like it kind of just became word of mouth that
Yeah.
the Shay is the first person that we brought
Love
on.
Shay.
Yeah, you
Yes.
know Shay. And so
Yes.
she like started to suggest these other people, and they've been amazing. So we're just like, okay.
And then,
nice.
like, there's this, which is going to happen again, but there's this idea of, this is what I love, throwing a good party
Oh yeah.
can do so much. Well, you guys throw great parties.
Thank you.
When did that, because that's a lot of work as well. And it's promoting the brand, so important to do that, getting people involved in the brand. When did that come up and go, you know, we're not doing enough. Let's throw a gigantic party.
Right. That actually came up earlier this year. So the magazine release party for the very
Yeah,
first one.
yeah.
And so Aaron was like, oh, we should do that. And I was like, of course we should do that. It's our baby, and like it's happening
Right.
in the winter. So what else
Right.
is anyone doing? Like nothing,
Yeah,
surely.
exactly.
So like I think it was January 25th, and we just had it at Fellow, which is our, you know, studio and
Yes, I
office
love
and
it
everything.
there.
So pretty.
Mhm.
So it was really nice, pretty chill. We just kind of had the magazines out, and we gave like a tiny, tiny little speech. We were just kind of like, what are we doing? But everyone like, it was kind of crazy because we like, I think we opened it to maybe 30 people. Like that's who we invited or
Yeah.
something, like writers mostly. And then we were
Right.
like, bring your friends, please.
Exactly.
And then anyone that had supported us, like with the Kickstarter, we invited all of those people too. So more than 30, thank goodness. But we just kind of assumed like 30 would show, which is why we had it at Fellow.
Yeah.
And like we had to tell people they couldn't come after a while because we started getting the RSVPs in, because Aaron had the good idea to ask for RSVPs, which I was like, surely we don't need that.
Right.
We did need that. And yeah, we had to start turning people away because it was like obviously a fire hazard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not enough room.
And so then we were like, okay, everyone actually like wants this. So Aaron was like, what if we had one every magazine release?
Yeah.
And so the next one we were like, well, surely we won't sell out. And we did. And we like oversold, which is its own actual beast. Like when you oversell, then you're like,
an airline.
Yeah, you have to change the tables. And I think we're going to have to change the tables again for the
because you sold out again.
And then like people are like, oh, I'm going to bring this person, or like, I don't know why the tickets were still open, but somebody bought like 2 more, and I was like, where is she going to sit? And
like,
then they
where
were
did
like,
those tickets come from?
So like it's a blessing. Obviously, it's the best. It's the best thing in the world. But at the same time, I always get there. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have 100 people, and that's gonna be great. And now it's 160, and I'm like,
exactly.
Like
I know. And then
people.
I get a hold of you, and I'm like, we'll put Kurt in a corner, but I need him to be there.
I know. I'm like, Kurt will still get to eat, and that's all I can promise.
Right. Kurt can hide under one of the tables. That's how that'll be. That'll get creepy real fast. So
I mean, there is like that staircase. So
I know. See, perfect. Well, I'm excited for you because you guys continue to grow. You continue to make an impact in Spokane. We're always talking about making an impact in the community where you are, and then it grows beyond that. But you guys really are. So as you look at the magazine and you look at like future thoughts, where do you want it to go?
I want it to be, and I say this personally, but really Aaron and I agree on everything. So I think our vision really is to have this be something where the community can look at it and feel represented.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because like another thing, when we started the magazine, we were like, like the Northwest region is growing a lot.
Yes.
But like when you talk to people, and I don't know if you have this too, but like when I talk to my friends who like live in New York or live like anywhere else, they're like, why would you want to live there? Like, isn't that where KKK people live? And I'm like, listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, Spokane is adjacent. It is not the same place.
It's not the same place. First of all, please stop saying that. Like, can you just like brain erase yourself?
Exactly.
And then it's so much more than that too. And you know, you and I lived here when it was a little rougher and stuff, and like having me like come back and everything and seeing how it's grown, I'm like, yes, but it's like a little fledgling like tomato sprout growing, and I like want it to be all tomatoes.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what kind of analogy that's going to, but like
I love growing
tomatoes.
This
it, you know, and I want it to grow.
Exactly. Well, and nothing, you know, what's that old phrase that I love so much? Nothing changes if nothing changes. Well, if everybody left, then nothing could change and grow here. I think the magazine is out there, first of all, reminding people there's so much more. I mean, do you remember this is way back, even probably before your time, but there was Northwest Magazine, which was a TV show. And it was all about, and of course they're defunct now, they haven't been around. That was back in the early 90s when we loved to celebrate, you know, our region. And I miss seeing that. Now we have that representation is back, because you know what? It's okay to have pride in the places that you are. And even I try not to shame North Idaho. I try hard. Because there's something about the communities you live in, but you have to actively take part to make sure our communities stay beautiful and open. And that's what you guys are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so it's the other thing too of being on Instagram, and like all of these people would, especially me, like my audience does come from other places. They're moving here from literally everywhere else. And like I'll get messages where people are like, you know, like we're like a gay couple, or like we have, you know, we have a biracial child, or like whatever they're sending me. And they're like, is it safe for me? And I'm just like, you know, it's hard kind of for me to answer that. So I do try to ask my friends. And who like are, you know, are like that and everything. And I ask them for their opinion. But the other thing is like, I just feel like a lot of the media that you see, especially nationwide, not in the Northwest, but like in other places, shows this area as being super white. And so like by putting people that are diverse on our cover, and if that gets to go out to Massachusetts or like Georgia or whatever, like these people are like, oh, this lady exists here? Like she looks like me, or like he looks like me.
And I think because we stay so insulated as humans, no matter where we are, it's not just a Spokane thing. When we only expose ourselves, we forget that, you know what, Spokane is not all white. Spokane is not one thing. And we do need to remind and celebrate, and maybe go beyond ourselves and expand. a little bit, because it's important to remember, those things. And I wanted to ask this. You don't do anything like this, media at all, unless you have some love for it, because it's not a cakewalk.
No.
It takes work. What is it about media that you love?
I love getting to show people that are different, have different perspectives and different backgrounds and just stories. So I think the biggest thing for me, Aaron and I really talk about having diversity on the screen and on the screen, on the magazine, who we interview on the podcast, but also for me, it's also class differentials. So when I got started, when I got started, I had a very just normal middle class upbringing. So I didn't know deprivation or anything like that. But when I started out, it was literally graduating during the recession, and it was fighting for jobs. It was living with a bunch of roommates. It was tough. And so I started freelance writing on the side of my main job because I was just trying to pay these student loans and pay life. And I went into the financial field is what I started writing in first. And so that paid pretty well back then. Yeah. But then over the years, I tried to transition to travel, and you wouldn't believe how many places even around here in the travel and food spaces, they pay zero. They were we'll pay you $0 for your writing. And I was
You're I'm sorry, I don't think I heard that. Right.
Zero doesn't pay the bills. Yeah. So about
Not even a little bit.
So so making sure that we can pay our writers has always been my number one, because I think about people who have amazing stories. My dad had great stories, but he grew up super, super poor in West Virginia. And he had to join the military just so he could pay for everything, and he didn't get to be that writer that he should have been because he couldn't take time off from paying work to do anything, and maybe he didn't know how and stuff. So the other thing is I want to get our message out to people in all the communities to be listen, not only should you write, and you can write for this magazine, but we'll pay you too.
Exactly. And do you think part of that, because first of all, everybody gets to feel with the cost of living right now that we are the lower class, because the divide has become so much larger. And my favorite thing is to hear stories on the radio say, it's fine. Oh, this is the best it's ever been. And I'm who are you talking to? Because it's not us. We go to the grocery store, we pay rent or we pay mortgages. It's not. So now you have a lot of that. But do you think this idea, and I understand this, I was freelance for a while, of not paying these freelance writers comes a little bit from a corporation going, well, there's all these people on socials. They can just do it.
Well, I'm glad you point that out. And also now they're getting to say, we can just have ChatGPT and AI do it.
So
that's a real fear. I'm still in a lot of freelance writing groups, and there's a lot of freak out in there, justifiably so. Yeah. But then there's just a lot of us, and me included. So anyone that wants to write for the magazine, I highly encourage you to apply and send us a pitch and everything. But good writing is, I don't think, replaceable by the computer.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it'll ever be. I can't say never. But as far as now, I can tell when something's AI written versus, and a lot of it is your experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there's no nuance.
Yeah.
It feels even the best AI produced content is missing something. But I think that's always the way that, you can tell the difference between quality. The other thing I want to say is no shade to anybody who's doing amazing out there doing socials, and they're, getting paid to go to different countries or whatever. Good for you, I wish. Yeah. But
they have an audience, and they connect to their audience, which is hopefully why the brands want to work with them.
But you said something a minute ago, and I think it's important. Not everyone is a great writer. Mm-hmm. And so if you can marry the two, or you find a way, because I don't know which came first with you guys, the chicken or the egg, but you have these great personalities of people who write, and then they're good at writing. And I'm I don't know if one gave birth to the other, but it's nice to see the marriage of those things.
Well, and that's why, and I think it's kind of funny that we have gotten some shade for not being real journalists. We didn't graduate from college in journalism, which throw my Spanish degree away.
Exactly.
So useless, I guess.
Oh, that makes me want to lie on the floor. That's just
but I also kind of like that too, having the web and having our magazine and everything, because I love that you said that, because I do. So I'm the editor for the web and the magazine too, and we do have a couple of writers that go off on tangents, and I'm sometimes I leave it because it's just so nice. It's like
Yes.
so heartwarming.
Exactly.
Like Shay didn't do this. Like Shay stuck to the prompt. She's
Yeah.
amazing. But in a couple of like her sentences in her latest article about the best breweries around Spokane,
Yeah.
she started writing about like why No Lie like started No Lie and like all these charities they support and just like all this really nice stuff. And I was like,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
we're gonna leave it. Like
Yeah.
that does make them one of the best breweries.
I love informed writing, but I also love when I feel like that person's giving me something as a real human. And again, I always have to say no shade to so many people. No shade to people who got their journalistic degrees.
Yeah, no shade.
But it's okay for a magazine to see. I love that you were told not real writers. We get similar comments, but we've been doing it. Eventually, you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I
can't.
And I always
care.
say,
don't
like,
have
start
time.
your own stuff. That's fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not threatened by it, and I support you. But you know, you and Kurt have a lot in common because he's ran a few magazines behind the scenes, and Proud Times was one. That's how I met him. Was this? And would get. I'm just like, what is happening? And then we just decided to do our own thing. But I think it's important for people to understand the reality. We live in a world now where instant gratification, we get what we want, and that it can tend to be a generation thing, but we think it's easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm all for it if it's easy for you, but don't be afraid of the work that goes into creating what you want. And I think there's a lot of people that are afraid of the work.
Yeah.
If you want it and you have to create it, then who the fuck cares what it takes? Just
Right.
go do it.
Do it. Yeah. Well, and that's the great thing about the internet, right? It let people just like start live
Exactly.
journals or start Tumblrs.
Talked about Live Journal
Do
the
you
other
love
day.
that
Yeah.
throwback? Yeah. So like, and even now with like
Yeah.
Instagram, and they can do, TikToks and everything like that. Like I love the democratization. And so kind of to like circle I promise I write a lot better than I speak, obviously.
Whatever. This is so good.
But to circle back with like Shay going off on tangents, and I absolutely love it. I do think the difference, like that we're not real journalists, is that we do like our writers like be a lot more flexible. We're not like, oh, you must stick to this word count because we have a deadline for tomorrow,
Yeah,
and like all
yeah.
this like super pressing or all of that. I think what bothers me is when people say that like non-journalists don't have ethics, and I'm like, we see it
Yeah.
in like the social media sphere, but that's not us. And so that's when I'm
Right.
kind of like, but we're different.
Exactly. Well, it's that idea that everybody must look like, the New York Times or Washington's. That's not what you're going for. Like, it doesn't mean you don't care about the writing. Doesn't mean you don't care about being factual, any of those. But we're not the Wall Street Journal. We're not asked to do those things because it's not what we're doing. Love those people. That's amazing. It's also a whole different style of writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And apparently you guys have been just fine
Yeah.
because there is an audience out there that wants to read it. So it's so much easier to tear someone down than it is to build them up. So that's why, who was it that said, never read anything about yourself?
That's smart.
Oh, Cher's mom told her that.
Smart.
Yeah,
well,
right?
Selena Gomez, she makes her whole team go through her social media, and then they pick out the like top nicest things, and
Yeah.
then they share that with her.
That's my dream.
That's
my dream.
amazing.
I need someone who goes through my life and they're like, yeah, even though I'm a little loud, so it's okay. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you were saying something earlier that we 100% on our team and your team vibe with, which is this idea that everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
And people wouldn't try to silence your story if that wasn't important. No one has your story, where you sit, what made you you, and so say it. Tell it out loud. Use that as your filter because you're going to get way more power from that than anything else. You guys are all about, I wrote in my notes, empowering.
Yeah.
You empower people.
Yeah.
How do you continue to make sure that that part of your goal continues as you go and get way more successful, and now it's Vogue, and then, you know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, I
do you
can't
have
even
that-
imagine, honestly.
Exactly. How do you have the touchstone that keeps you centered?
Yeah, I think for empowering for Aaron and I think the biggest thing is one, like protecting our writers. So, I mean, I know that seems like, I don't know if that sounds patronizing or patronizing or whatever, but I mean, I think the biggest thing is when people do read those negative comments, maybe it makes them not want to share their story. And so Aaron and I, like, we haven't actually gotten any negative like comments
Yeah.
on the site or on our socials, or at least not that I've seen. So
Yeah.
maybe she's deleting them real
Oh,
fast.
she's good.
But I don't want our writers to ever think, oh, I'm not going to share this, or I don't want to pitch this topic like an
Right.
emerging writer that wants to write and pitch to us and everything. I don't want them to feel like, oh, well, they get like such negative backlash, or like I can't say
Right.
this. We just want them to feel like they can come and write for us, and everyone wants to see it.
Exactly. And why these people who hold you to this huge standard, have you been online? Like, go to the people that you need to do. There is some things I look at and read online, but they're not real. You know, listen, we're celebrating our area. I do have to say, I love that you guys seem to celebrate with everybody, not only women, which as a gay man, we love strong women. It's a thing. But also all body sizes, it is this beautiful, and I love that because, to be honest with you, I haven't seen that in media or in magazines or any of that. You guys seem to celebrate those qualities of those that maybe aren't what's considered Hollywood mainstream. Exactly. And I think we need more of that.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too. So thinking about it like that, and I feel like the last guest that you had, you guys kind of touched on this a little bit, but like the whole looks things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, it's so interesting because we're going over fall covers right now. And like Aaron had a bunch from a bunch of different photographers. If you are a photographer and you want to submit to be on our cover too, please definitely go to the website and check that out.
I know exactly who. Oh, I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her. Yeah.
Do. Yeah. So we were looking at the latest and we were like talking about it and everything. And we were like, wait, are we liking this cover more because it's, like the aesthetic that we're all fed? Or should or should we like go this way that's a little bit more unconventional? Like it is all of these things because being in media where you have to meet advertiser, like there are certain things like, so that's filtering how you're judging this.
Exactly.
But you're also like, I have this audience that wants to see this diversity. So that's being filtered through. It's real. I feel like the more successful we get, the harder it is to step away from just the heteronormativity and everything, body size, looks, like who it is.
I think that happens in Hollywood so much as well. And what it is you just have to, and listen, it's hard. And as you get more successful, it's amazing. But it's that point where you have people around you that are like reminding you, but it's not easy. I think you were referencing Ian Kelly's interview, because we talked about it he's in radio and I'm in podcasting. And this idea as we grew up through the 90s and the aughts of this, how we were going to represent gay people in media and how that has changed through the years, and how like Anderson Cooper gave it a little more legitimacy than Jack on Will and Grace, who's amazing, but needed to be a stereotype. Yeah. And so I love, and I think because this is just my thought, and I'm a millionaire, so that's how that goes, is that you keep perpetuating this idea that everybody has a voice and they're all welcome. When you change the world around you, those advertisers are eventually going to catch on and go, oh, you know what I mean? But it's a balancing game, especially when you're behind the scenes. So I get that for sure.
Yeah, and you got to pay the bills. So you're like, okay, well,
right?
This advertiser, well, I mean, and luckily none of that has happened yet. We did choose. We tentatively chose, and then we also run it by now our staff and everybody who are diverse, and it's wonderful. Yeah. So we're able to be like, okay, are we picking this because we're like we have this in our heads, and then they're like, oh no, we really like this one too. We're like, okay, good, like we're still on the right path. So
smart. I always tell Kurt that I can't be the only one making the decision because I don't know where I'm coming from. Now, given final decision, I'm like, okay, but
someone does have to make
everything in there. Yeah. Take everybody's thoughts into account because that's important. And then in the end, it's your ship, but at least you've taken an idea of what's coming. I have to say, I say a lot of things on the show, but I want to say that I hope you guys aren't in any danger of not doing it, but I hope it continues to strengthen you to continue to empower these communities that are not always the ones in the center, like women, like people of different body sizes, like because that's what makes it so cool that you guys are here in Spokane. You know what I mean? And we need more of that. So I love that you guys are there. So I'm just saying. And Katie Hartwig. Hi, Katie. If anybody's been watching some of our photo shoots that we have been releasing, Katie, I'm going to tell her she needs to talk to you guys because she's also, I talk about her all the time. She's like, why are you saying such nice things about me? Because you're the most awesome person. And she was just in Madison Square Gardens because she's the main photographer for the MMA fighters.
Oh my
and
gosh,
so she was over
has
there.
some time.
Yeah. And I'm like, I should have been in your suitcase because so many ex-husbands were waiting for me.
I know, they really were.
I
They just didn't
know.
know it.
They
They
were
were going to
sad.
be your ex.
So I have to say, who are some, this amazing idea of powerful women, who are role models that come to mind when you think of that?
Oh man, I really should have thought of this question ahead of time. I mean, as far as like women and everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
any of them, but yeah, women as well.
Yeah, I would honestly have to say I had this. She's still alive, so she's still there. But I had this teacher in high school, and she was a published author, and she just, I mean, total stereotype of the teacher that changes your life and everything.
Oh, I love that.
I think I had her sophomore year, junior year, and senior year for like different classes. But I had told her like junior year, like just off the cuff, you know, you're like leaving whatever as a student.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, like she was like, she said something about college, and I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to go. Like, I don't like, my mom never graduated. My dad went in the 60s, and he was just like, who cares? I went to the military, whatever.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, yeah, like I can't really figure it out. It's probably too expensive. I probably can't afford it and whatever.
Right.
And she was just like, you're the kind of person that should go. And so, I mean, looking back, I know that means I had zero skills, but I could just read really well.
Exactly.
So she was like, you should go to college because there's nothing out there. You can't hold a hammer. You can't, I don't know what else exists, but
we need you to build some things. Build some skill sets.
Yeah. Maybe read better. Yeah. Maybe you'll be something like that. And so, and it was funny because one of your latest podcasts too, you guys, I think it was with Holly, when you guys were talking about like what you were tracked for in school and everything.
Right. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. And mine said I should be someone that chops down trees, which I love trees. So I was like literally the opposite. And then the other one is CPA. And when I went to the counselor, I was like, what do these mean? Because I'm bad at math. And she was like, oh, this means you should work alone. You don't work with people well. And I was like, wow, this is like super mean. I'm not going to go to college because I don't know what any of these are. And so trying to wrap this back. And so she just must have low key made it her goal to teach me things. So like she encouraged me to be in her class the next year. And then she encouraged me to be in her next class, and one of them was like AP something, English probably. I don't know why I can't remember that. But and then one of the best things is that she was writing books while being a teacher and everything, and so she had me be in the, I guess authors like have you read like the first couple drafts, and so she was having us, because she wrote from the YA young adult perspective, and so she had us, a couple of us, like read it out loud because she wanted to see how it read and like would kids really talk that way. And I was like, oh, this is how authors are published. Okay, so like this is a career path for me, because my mom didn't really have a career path. She was like in and out of homemaking. And then my dad had one, but like he was just like, oh, girls don't do that. It was in law enforcement. And so he's like, girls don't do that. And I was just like, okay, so I don't know anyone that I could like get career advice from, because that was kind of it. And like she showed me this path. And then my senior year, I was in like teaching. I was in Future Educators of America. And so I didn't end up doing that, even though I went to Gonzaga for it, because I was a very bad teacher. So I'm not good at teaching, but like she like taught me that career path, and then she helped me with all of my college essays, and she made it a requirement that I had to submit those to her. And so, I mean, role model for sure, and just someone that changed my life immeasurably. And ever since then, like, and then I had like other great teachers at Gonzaga who were women and everything that just like were like, you're really good at this. And I was like, no, I'm not. I felt like an imposter being there, and definitely like one of the poor kids. And like she was like this one teacher, Dr. Elizabeth, I forget her last name now, Cooley. She was like, no, you're really good at this. Like, you should major in this. I did not. Surprise for her. But it was English, and I was just like, I know how to read.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah, I'm going to do Spanish instead. But, yeah, so, like, all of these people, just these women especially, they believed in me. And so, I mean, I guess you could say, like, lots of people could be role models. Like, you could say Hillary for everything that she put up with. Like, watching that. Growing up as a woman, like as a girl, watching her deal with all of that, I was like, oh, okay, politics isn't for me.
Right.
But
and still being so strong. And of course, we try to tear her apart because we don't like strong women in America, I guess. So to see her survive and go beyond it, lift above it.
Yeah.
So
but
what
as people who impacted me, like they
for real.
they made sure I'm here, basically.
And what I hear you saying is basically you can do whatever you put your mind to. That people who are watching there is always a way, and that's the empowerment. Because like we say that I'm known as a cheerleader because I want people to feel like they can accomplish. Now, you better do your work.
Yeah,
you know what I
maybe
mean?
not everyone can be a tree chopper.
Yeah.
I'm sure that has a real name.
I know.
When it came up on the screen,
Also,
I was
what
just
an
like,
odd.
why am I? And also, we lived in Phoenix, right? I'm like, what trees?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I hacking down saguaros?
It's
like,
so
I think they're endangered.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
right? It's so weird that it gets so specific. You should scrape gum off the bottom of desks.
I feel like that was probably my third. And I was like, I'm out.
Right?
This is not a class for me. I don't know what's happening.
I think it's lazy computers. I was told I should be a minister. And I'm like, is that because you know my dad was a minister? Does this computer doesn't know what happened in my life? Don't talk to me. Don't even try it. But those are the
kind
things.
of, you're out here, like,
see?
and maybe it can lead to cult one day.
See? Goals. We have goals.
You're charismatic. That's
I
what
mean,
it identified.
that's what needs.
There you
go.
go.
I mean, hello. But one more thing before we're going to wind down with something fun in a minute. But before that, one more thing is, what would you say? So let's start specifically with young ladies. They want to go beyond what they're told that they can. What kind of advice? They want to do a writer. They want to be in media. What kind of advice would you give them?
Oh man, I had the opportunity to do some hiring in Phoenix, and there was
Nice.
one person in particular. I mean, I liked everyone I hired, obviously. So anyone that's listening to this, I liked all of you.
You were amazing.
But there was definitely one that I saw, like, she was young, and she was just like, and I was just like so protective of her. Anytime, I mean, we worked actually in emergency management, which is law enforcement adjacent. So I was like, if anyone sasses you, I will cut them, and they know it too. Like,
Exactly.
So I mean, what I always like told her was just kind of like anything you want to do. 'Cause she was thinking about grad school, and I was like, yeah, do it. I'll write your I'll write your letters of recommendation and all of that. And then she was like, well, but maybe I should like earn money and like not take on grad debt. And I was like, yeah, also that's super smart. Having gone to grad school, no, you should probably not do that. Do this. And so I know that's like touching one person. So like to a group of ladies that I haven't gotten to like personally mentor or anything, I would just say, if you're interested in doing something, go for it and don't let anyone tell you no. Maybe try to find a mentor, but I've also worked with mentors that were like very not helpful. So just try it, like throw things at the wall. And I think the best part about the internet is you can put yourself out there. You can put your own resume up on your own website. You can do your own writing. You can do your own podcasting. You can do anything you want. I specifically know kind of those channels. I don't know what you should do if you want to be a tree chopper.
I know.
I don't know, go outside.
I mean, research. Do your research.
Get like a saw. I'm not sure. But if you want to go in media.
Is it an axe? Or see, we don't know. Because we don't chop down trees.
I've never chopped down a tree. I hope I never have to.
I'm pro-environmental. That's what I'm saying.
I hope I'm never stuck where I like have to build a fire, because I'll just be like, I'll be like using my phone as like a chop.
This is why I had a coworker come to me and tell me that if I think I told the story in the last show, that if Armageddon never happens, here's some advice because you'll never make it. I'm like, that's so not sweet.
Oh no.
You know what? I will prove you wrong, but let's not go through Armageddon. That seems like work.
I remember your stories about that. I know what you have to do.
I know. Listen, people, it gets
rough real fast for Jonathan.
I know it does. Gay men, we are known to love, I think, strong women, but not only strong women. Part of it is because women throughout history have always come as the underdog. And so the ones that are this amazing force, it's why I know Barbara Streisand is crazy, but I love her because she created something in a time when you weren't allowed to create that. You know, you have Ella Fitzgerald, you have Gloria Steinem. Her story of being in the Playboy Club to kind of is amazing. Yeah. And after her story, of course, Hugh Hefner changed some of the things, needed to change more. But so I'm fascinated by these women
too. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God,
right? Dolly. Like
keeping
her music from, sorry, Elvis, but also because she wanted to own it. She did it.
Exactly. Yeah. How dare, the Colonel come in and say, well, we're gonna take 80%. We're men and we're gonna own the most. And she's so smart. I also love her because talk about a woman with vision. Mm-hmm. I read her book about dreaming, and she's amazing. And what's even better is that she stands up for everyone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She's and her new rock and roll album comes out later this year. The first two songs are absolutely brilliant. And I love her because they wanted to induct her into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she's like, that I don't feel like I've earned that. Why would you do that? None of my songs are. So she decided she would only accept it if she did a rock album. I'm like, this is my girl.
Oh my gosh.
And she's always been there to stand up for everyone. And I also, if you ever get a chance, watch an old Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
Barbara Walters interview when she tries to basically shame Dolly when she was first famous, talk about her look and why do you do. And Dolly, you could see the spark in her eye as, oh, this isn't going to go down. And she stands up for herself. And at the same time, she doesn't belittle Barbara, but she makes the most beautiful points about being who you are. Yeah. And so always love. So for all my gay boys out there, divas are important. And I feel like divas are not just the people in media. To me, you are a diva because you and Aaron are doing the work that we need to do in uplifting women, but all of us through that. And so on that note, we're going to play a little game. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to hand you this card, and it just has 5 strong women, right? Strong women through history.
Okay. Ooh.
I am going to... and I love that I do include Lisa Vanderpump as a woman in history.
I just saw that. I'm so excited.
I'm going to read you 5 quotes.
Okay. Ooh.
You're going to try to tell me. You're going to try to match it.
Oh, my God, yes.
And in post, Kurt's going to do the dun, dun, dun. He's going to put a little timer in there. Let's see if you can match these. So are you ready?
I'm so ready. I'm so excited.
It. Okay, the first quote is, everyone looks to an artist for something more than just music, and that message of being comfortable in my own skin is the number 1 reason for me.
That could either be Lady Gaga or Lizzo, so I'm going to go with Lizzo.
What? Yes, good. One down. Perfect. I know.
trivia.
And listen to everyone who's like, look at all the drama with Lizzo. Listen, nothing's been proven. She is innocent until proven guilty.
That's true.
And I hope those people who, feel victimized, I hope that either they're wrong or I'm sorry and you deserve, what you get. Like getting out there and suing. So way to go. Second quote. Are we ready? No one can make you feel inferior without your permission.
Isn't that Eleanor?
Yes! Way to go. 2 down.
I'm so sorry, Kurt. I'm not giving him enough time to do the
I know. That's because you're so good.
I do love trivia.
This is
like
winning Jeopardy. I did not know this.
I love
really?
It. Anytime you need a trivia buddy, please take
I
me.
love that. Ian Kelly invited me to go to the what's it called?
Brick West.
Brick West
back,
for trivia,
yeah.
and I said,
Beer place,
that sounds fun, but just because I like trivia, it doesn't mean I'm good at it. I'm horrible.
Oh my
horrible
gosh,
at
I'm
it.
like low key very good. Unless
okay,
it's
we need to all go.
Unless it's like a lot of sports or like baseball,
yeah.
then I'm tapping.
I can typically do anything to do with Broadway or the arts.
Nice. Okay, good. And if you got music too, because I'm so
a little
music.
bit music. Okay. Yes. So here we go. We're going to go to quote number 3. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Life isn't all diamonds and rosé, but it should be.
Oh my God, Lisa.
Lisa Vanderpump. Have you ever seen her, like in real life?
In real life, no.
Let's
have you?
Fix that. Yes. Oh. I went to one of her restaurants in LA, and she was there. First of all, she's like they all are. She's the tiniest thing you've ever seen. Petite, but the nicest. So kind. I mean, there's just a bunch of us, we don't know her from anywhere. And she took the time. She said, if I'm at the restaurant, then this is what happens. There's no reason not to be nice. She was there the same day that Leslie Jordan was at her restaurant for brunch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What?
So Lisa, I have a lot of respect because she was actually super nice, which I love. Okay. Now we're going to go to quote number 4. I used to walk down the street like I was a fucking star. I want people to walk around delusional about how great they can be, and then to fight so hard for it every day that the lie becomes the truth.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Oprah did not say fucking. So, Lady Gaga.
I love the thought process that goes into it because you are correct.
Yeah.
But I want Oprah to say fuck it. Oprah, are you listening? We want you to say fuck it because that would just be good. Yeah, because
it would just blow so many people's minds though. Like if Oprah was just like, you get a fucking car, like everyone would be like, I love fucking cars, but also does it have to be a fucking car?
Right. It would make me so happy though.
Yeah,
because she is so wise and beautiful. It's like if Maya Angelou came back from the dead and was like, fuck this shit. Yeah. That would make me so happy.
I would also be like, she's correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Also, I think that she probably would. I mean, I think she was amazing. Okay, last but not least, but by elimination, you're going to know, but we're going to say it anyways. Passion is the log that keeps the fire of purpose blazing.
Ooh, that does sound like so much like an Oprah quote.
Yeah,
well,
right?
But if you had started with it, I might have been like, well, Eleanor was like into fireside chats, maybe.
Exactly, right? But can I tell you, I don't know why when I read that quote earlier, I had to question whether I was going to put that quote down just because I don't know, something about it. I'm like, it just doesn't seem eloquent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds a little woo-woo, which is very Oprah's thing.
But this is a good tie back to that you should have been chopping down trees.
I should have been.
I mean,
yes,
apparently.
right, because it's going to fuel my passion and stuff.
Do you know what, though? I like a good lumberjack. So
let's
can all
leave it
do
to
that.
them.
Yeah, we'll leave it to them. I have a few favorite lumberjacks. Thank you so much for coming in, for bringing us cookies. It has taken... Like a few times during the show, I've been reaching for the cookie. I'm like, no, you can't have the cookie.
No, Kurt will yell at you.
He will, right. Yeah. He yells at me anyways. But,
well, good.
Know.
I brought the cookies as a bribe, hoping that I'll get invited back. Because I know I heard you say that you only invite back people you really like. Yeah. So if I don't get an invite back,
so you know what everybody now is doing? Going, I was on that show once.
Yeah. And
like,
when?
Keep you guessing. Because you don't know if did I like you, did I not like you. Maybe you should bring me cookies next time.
We don't know how far you're planned out, right? So like you could be planned out a year. And everyone's like, oh, he hates me.
I know. I'm the worst. Well, this has been an honor. First of all, I'm excited to continue to work with you ladies and to support this amazing magazine. And I am shocked. I'm not going to lie. So everybody remembers back in April, I did the little MC work for you guys. And I was absolutely shocked when you guys asked me back. And so it means a lot. And so let's see how much I can ruin this time.
No, you're going to ruin zero. You were so fun.
It's so funny. We're going to have a great time. Everybody, please check out. Where can they go for the website for Trendy Northwest Magazine?
TrendingNorthwest.com.
TrendyNorthwest.com. You can also find you guys. I was all choked up. I was so emotional. Find you guys on socials.
Yes, trending.northwest on Instagram, Trending Northwest on Facebook. We do have YouTube. It's also Trending Northwest.
Nice.
Just type Trending Northwest.
You're going to find it.
Yeah, and you'll find us.
You're going to find it. So, and then look for their parties because they sell out super fast, but they're also super fun. So remember, also Kurt will kill me if I don't remember. I want to change it up every time. Remember to like and subscribe. Where should we like and subscribe? Right there. Do that. So Kurt has to watch the whole thing in order to find out where to put those things. Also, remember, you can find our show every Tuesday at thequeercentric.com. And as we discovered last week on the Ian Kelly show, you can accidentally find it on Podbean early because I didn't realize people had access to it. So look, and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/thequeercentric, because all us indie artists, including magazines, need your financial support. But until next time, bye.